Drama for Boxing Day on BBC One, and Bergerac has a special ghost story for Christmas.
I would ask you all kindly to join hands as I concentrate on Roberta. I concentrate on Roberta. Is anybody there? Is anybody there? Speak. The way is open.
Bergerac, tonight at 8:30.
In a quarter of an hour, David Niven, Gregory Peck and Anthony Quinn set out to destroy the guns of Navarone. Now it's 1:15, time for the news and sport with Jan Leeming and David Icke.
A British tanker sinks off Iceland. All 12 crew are feared dead. The hijack disaster, a Jordanian government minister tells how he survived. And Botham back and in form in the Melbourne Test. 12 sailors are believed to have died when a British-owned tanker sank off Iceland early today. 6 of the crewmen were British, the others came from Cape Verde. It's thought that they jumped overboard when they realised their ship was sinking. The Sinetta was on its way to Eskifjordur on the east coast of Iceland when it ran aground. It sent out a mayday call at about midnight saying it couldn't launch any lifeboats because the ship was too close to the rocks. The first rescue boats arrived 30 minutes later. By then, the Sinetta had nearly capsized and there was no sign of the crew. 7 bodies have been recovered from the sea and another 2 were sighted before they sank. The search for the other is continuing.
It's the first time they've been to this actual port. They've been to an adjacent fiord, a port on an adjacent fiord on the previous trip, but I think it's the first time they've been into this one.
You knew many of the people on board?
Yes, indeed.
So it's personally a tragedy for you?
Yes, it's a bit of something out of the family, actually.
And in another shipwreck off Sardinia, 8 crew members of a Cypriot freighter are thought to have drowned. The ship went down yesterday in a storm 20 miles south of the island. It was taking a cargo of sulfuric acid from Vesma to Turkey. Rescue services were sent from the Sardinian capital, Cagliari. 10 of the 18 crew members were picked up and taken to hospital. 2 of the crew were Greek, the rest were South Korean. It's thought the freighter had sprung a leak after the cargo shifted in heavy seas, loosening rivets in the hull. The Iranian government has denied claims that it was behind the attempted hijack of an Iraqi jet yesterday in which 62 people died. The pro-Iranian Islamic Jihad is among 3 extremist Muslim groups who say they carried out the attack. The Iraqi Airways 737 was on a flight from Baghdad to Amman in Jordan when the hijackers tried to take it over. There was a gun battle between the terrorists and security guards, and the plane crash-landed at Araa in Saudi Arabia. Some of the 44 survivors arrived last night in Amman, where they were met by Jordanian officials. A former Interior Minister, Sulaiman Araa, was on the jet when the hijackers struck. He later told journalists what happened.
We heard voice of bomb and shooting. After perhaps 1 minute, we heard also another pump in the second class, in the tourist class. And shooting. The airport is very near, about 200 or 300 only from the runway. We came down in the earth. I don't know what happened, a big sound, and the chairs on our heads. And I saw some fire in the wings. I tried to find my way to the door, and so I will be outside. When I looked, I saw the aeroplane, 2 parts.
In Madrid, a bomb apparently planted by Basque separatists caused extensive damage to a French-owned hotel. The bomb had been hidden on the 3rd floor of the 9-storey building. It blew a large hole in the facade, but no injuries were reported. An anonymous caller telephoned a warning, but police had no time to evacuate the 240-bedroom building. In Frankfurt, 2 people were killed when a gas explosion destroyed a 3-storey house. The blast happened early today in a row of houses near the city centre. 7 other people were injured, 2 of them seriously. Other houses in the area were evacuated. More than 900 people were left homeless when fire destroyed over 100 junks and sampans in Hong Kong. 2 people were slightly hurt in the fire, which took over 4 hours to put out. The floating homes were moored in a cove which normally shelters them from typhoons. The area is popular with tourists who visit the floating restaurants. The cause of the blaze is being investigated. Britain's hunt saboteurs have declared a national day of action against fox hunting. More than 100 squads have been staging demonstrations at Boxing Day meets throughout the country as part of a new campaign to have the sport banned.
About 100 demonstrators turned up for the traditional Boxing Day meet in Guildford as part of the National Day of Action called by the Hunt Saboteurs Association. Some wore masks and fancy dress. The protesters claim the Surrey Union Hounds killed a pet collie earlier this year, have attacked chickens in a farm and killed a deer 3 weeks ago. A spokesman for the hunt said these were isolated incidents and one unruly hound has been put down. There was shouting and jostling as the hunt moved off. The saboteurs say they'll try and disrupt the day's sport.
Sportsmen have already been making big news today, and the biggest impact of all has been made by Ian Botham. With news of that and the rest of the sporting action, here's David Icke.
Yes, the man of the first day of the 4th test was Ian Botham, back after injury and in superb form. With the ball, he took 5 wickets for 41 and Gladstone Small 5 for 48. Botham also took 3 catches, while wicketkeeper Jack Richards took 5 to dismiss Australia for 141. If England avoid defeat, they retain the Ashes, and as Michael Peshart reports, that looks a certainty.
With Dilley injured, Gladstone Small opened the bowling, his first effort none too impressive, but the improvement sudden and dramatic as Boone edged Botham back into the Test limelight. Not even Marsh, usually the most stubborn of stayers, could prosper, a jumping Jack Richards with the catch. Jones was Australia's one success, but he lived dangerously nonetheless, Broad just getting his fingers to this. The turning point, perhaps, the wicket of Border. Bowled Botham, caught Richards. Steve Waugh didn't last long either, as everything was going England's and Botham's way. Small eventually deceived Jones after he'd scored 59, the simplest of catches for David Gower. From then on, the collapse gathered pace. Sleep caught for naught, and Zura, in 2 minds, played on to Botham. The most remarkable catch of the day saw McDermott off. The dash